God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. And if the stars were made to worship so alive, I can see your heart in everything you made. Every burning star, a signal fire grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty your voice. For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. 100 billion creatures catch your breath. If it all reveals your nature so alive, I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, a canvas of your grace. If creation still obeys you, so will I. So will I. So will I.
Surprise, 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 surprise.
Hey,
Hello. Can you hear me?
hi, Mr. Dayo.
For some reason, I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, yes, better now. I can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
How are you?
I am good, considering the circumstances. But yeah, I'm good.
How you getting on? How you getting on things? How are you coping in this
I mean, me
lockdown?
personally, I'm good. I'm a homebody anyway. I'm getting that time to spend with my son, cooking a lot, relaxing. So I'm personally good. But obviously, I've been out a couple of times. I've seen how a lot of people are not handling this really well. A lot of people are hungry, they're depressed, and so that obviously is getting to me. The fact that it's affecting so many other people that way. So.
Okay, so people, a lot of people will be surprised that you're on because I didn't mention to anyone that you're.
I know.
I didn't mention to anyone, but everybody's been asking me, bring on Tiwa, bring on Tiwa, bring on Tiwa, bring on Tiwa. So, but I don't, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't undervalue our relationship. So, and I don't like to, you know, undermine people naturally. That's just me. So it's a session where this is all about. It's a session for sound engineers, really. I know a lot of your own fans are gonna tune in and stuff and all that, but it's a session for sound engineers. We just enjoy talking about sound engineering from the sound engineer's perspective, from the artist's perspective. So I just throw up some questions to you and just enjoy it.
Okay.
Some people saying they can't see you.
Really?
They can't see you, but I can see you.
Yeah,
I can see you.
Let me log on, see if you can see me.
I can see you very well, though.
Okay. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I can see you very well.
Let me go live to see the picture and sound is good.
So what I normally say to my guests is tell us about yourself. But I can't tell you to tell us about yourself. So my question now would be, what makes you so unique?
I don't know. How do you answer that question in a humble way and not sound like...
Okay, apparently. Okay, Tiwa, the issue is your camera is landscape, so they want you to turn your phone so you can... there you go. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to like... Is it better now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that. Like, Mr. Day, I don't know. Like,
I'll put you on the spot then.
Yeah, like I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm blessed. Maybe to be in it this long, as a female, and just still be, doing what I'm doing and growing. I can't take any credit for it. So I can't say, oh, it's because I'm this and that. I just think, God, I don't know. God is just faithful, and he's just looking out for me.
well, that's something that's come up a lot in our conversations with people. Everybody says there's grace. There's, you can have the talent, but at the same time, grace is very important. You might work for now till tomorrow, but once the grace comes in, then it's very important. Even for us as sound engineers, me meeting you was a chance opportunity, really, because you work with some musicians that I knew. So it wasn't as if, it just the way life is. It's all about grace and time and opportunity. So I would say you've performed at so many venues. It's always a question I ask everybody. I still have other guests coming on. You performed at so many venues, big, small, mighty. Do you approach them the same way?
What, in terms of performance or sound?
Yeah.
In terms of
both.
In terms of what?
In terms of performance, in terms of sound.
So I think it also depends on how big the show is. So, we've done festivals before where we have 15 minutes. And so my approach has to be different. It just has to be biggest hits, energy from beginning to end, leave a mark, the crowd. And it also depends on the crowd. If you're in a festival, especially, and, there's back-to-back artists, you can't just come and try and, dull the crowd. Like, you have to see the lineup and see the characteristic of that audience. So if it's predominantly an Afrobeat audience, and that there's some certain songs that they will gravitate to. It might not be a single, but that they gravitate to it. Now, if it's your own standalone show, you approach it different. A, because everyone's there to see you. It's your show. And B, you have more time. This is your production. So you are able to, take them on a journey. Whereas, a festival, you can't do that because you have you're time sensitive. But on your own show, you can start, with the intro. You can take them on ballads. You can tell a story in between songs. You can play around with your sets. So definitely, you have to approach every performance differently in terms of that. But still, my heart and my love to every single one is the same. I may approach it differently, but my passion for it is the same. So whether I'm giving you 15 minutes or 50 minutes, my passion for it is the same. Whether it's 100 people in the crowd or 20,000 people in the audience, like I'm giving it my all. Whether it's a free show or it's my biggest paying show, I'm giving it my all every time.
Okay, so what a lot of people don't know about you is that you have a degree in music, jazz for that matter. So does that give you an added advantage? Because I hear some of the riffs that you do. Does that gives you an added advantage when you're as a performer?
I think for me, studying music just gave me an appreciation of musicians,
Okay.
Of sound, and just being prepared, and just, so for me, that's why a lot of the times when I have to, travel, my entourage is huge. And people don't understand why I mean, Mr. Dad, people are like, what do you mean you're bringing your own sound engineer all the way from London? And that's really important. Like, it's like asking a footballer not to bring his trainer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or just go to, some other country and just train with somebody else that he's never met, he doesn't know, he doesn't have a relationship with. It's never going to work. I mean, and that's no offense to whoever that sound engineer is or whoever that band is. They could be the sickest band. Like, they could, give you all the licks and everything. The drummer could be the best. But if he's not your drummer, that energy and that chemistry is not going to be there. And that's what I learned from studying music. Is like, it's not just about paper. Music is spirit. It's deeper than that. So even though I went to school for music, it's ironic because they taught me in a music school that music is spiritual. Like, yeah, we could teach you how to read notes. We could teach you how to play an instrument. We could teach you how to control your voice. But at the end of the day, there's something we can't teach you. And that's the intangible part of music.
Absolutely. So I've been with you on shows, Global Citizen on the same stage with Beyonce, to LA where we had a private, I think it was for a makeup launch.
Yeah. And they were like, "You're bringing a sound engineer for a party."
So if you're someone who takes that perspective into what you do, into how you give, how come it's not a very prevalent culture in Nigeria?
I don't know, and it baffles me. Like, if you want to go and see a doctor or something, you would want him to be qualified, right?
Yeah.
You'd want to know that he has the right equipment to do whatever he needs to do. He has the right resources. And yeah, doctors perform miracles all the time, but musicians and creatives do it in their own way too. Like, we heal lives, we heal souls, we heal broken hearts, we lift your spirits when you're down. So as a musician or as an artist, those other parts are important. The sound is important. Instrumentalists are important. Dancers are important. And I just want to say rest in peace to Koda, that we lost yesterday. So those people are important. Makeup, hair, everyone is important. And I still don't see why it's not appreciated enough in Nigeria. Like, it baffles me when somebody thinks I'm crazy to want to fly in my sound engineer from London. Like, it's crazy. Like, you would not even question J. Cole if he told you that. But then you wonder why you walk away from a J. Cole concert and he sounds exactly like the album or better. And then you're like, this Nigerian artist, all they do is jump on stage and they shout, shout, shout. Most of us don't want to do that. Most of us want to give you a great show. How am I going to give you a great show with terrible sound? Doesn't work. It's never going to work. So guess what? We're going to keep shouting and shouting and shouting because that's all we can do.
That's all you can. So, based on that, my next question is: how did you handle that one event that sound went wrong?
I probably, after I get off stage, I'll probably scream and shout and cry. But then, I mean, I brought myself brain, and I know that as long as there's tomorrow, I can always redeem myself. So no matter how much I mess up, no matter how much sounds messes up, no matter how terrible the show is, if God can give me another day, another opportunity, I will take away from what I learned from that, and I will improve it. So yeah, I might have that moment of, oh my God, like, and then you go on tweet and people are like, yo, what the hell, Tiwa fucked up, she's this, she's that. And that will get to you for, a few minutes, but I don't let it dwell. Like, I'll just be like, I move on to the next, and I just pray that I do better. Listen, in the history, in all the artists I've studied, every artist has had a bad performance. Every single artist.
Yeah, but
Even international ones.
every artist has had a bad performance, but there's always a story behind it. And
Yeah.
the audience don't naturally see the reason.
And it's not always anyone's fault, because sometimes I'll look at the band and I'll be like, what's going on? And the drummer will be like, my sound is out, like, whatever. Or you could be there fighting with people telling you, Tiwa only has 2 minutes, and, you're trying to do your thing, but you're still looking at me trying to make sure my sound is good, and you're dealing with external factors. So a lot of the times, it's not even anyone from my team's fault, because I'm not trying to brag. Like, I have the dopest team, the best people, like, working with me. Like, even under the circumstances, we're able to pull off so many things. Yeah. I just know that no one's intentionally going to want to sabotage my performance. And even though when I'm angry, when I get backstage and then I hear, okay, this is why, this is what happened, I'll be like, oh man, like, you know what, next time we have to tell them, you have to guarantee us at least 20 minutes on stage. Or you have to make sure we do sound check. If we don't do sound check, we're not going to perform. We're always learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one bad situation will make us now change something in our contracts. Like, you know what, this is it. Just so we avoid that kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Okay. So 2 questions before I let you go. I know you've got very busy. Number 1 is, so especially from the Nigerian perspective, I really, really want to give into the Nigerian industry. And I'm having conversations with people over there. But what would be that one advice that you can advise any sound engineer watching from Nigeria? Because I do have a few of them watching on this platform. What would be that one advice that you can give?
Well, I suppose as for them working with artists.
Yes. So as an artist, let's say you've worked with some engineer, you've had issues or stuff, and the Nigerian performance without your own sound engineer. What would be that one advice that you would give to sound engineers upcoming in Nigeria who want to get to that platform of?
They should make sure it's coming. The passion is coming from a right place, because like any industry or any creative job, you're not going to get paid that much at the beginning. Even as artists, when I first started out, it wasn't like that. I think my first paycheck was like maybe 30K or something. So you have to be prepared to do this from here. And you have to study your artists. You have to know your artist's mood. Like, this is just beyond, oh, you're making the artist feel good. You have to know when your artist's voice is strained. You have to know when your artist is tired during the show. And you know how to tweak or make them sound good. You have to know during rehearsals, you have to really listen. Like, what does my artist need? Study them, study their personality. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You have to know their nuances. Like, sometimes you know that my artist likes to talk a lot on stage or whatever. So you know what to do. Or you know that my artist is really shy. He or she doesn't really. You have to know your artist. When you know your artist and you do the right things for the artist, trust me, when the artist performs without you, they will feel it.
They will feel it.
And then you now become indispensable. Like, the artist will be like, no, I have to go somewhere. I have to go everywhere with this, my sound engineer. Then shoot, you're part of the team,
Guys, I hope you're listening. My last question, I have to talk about this. Your live, Instagram live.
Well, which one?
The gospel one, where you did the gospel.
Yes.
So it's obvious. We all know you came out from church, right? And normally on Fridays we focus this I'll talk about on churches.
Okay.
So what would you say has been the difference in the quality delivery from coming from the church perspective
Mecca, please
and
don't use my charger. Go ahead.
coming from the church perspective and going into the secular world perspective? Is there a big quality difference between the two worlds? What would you say about that?
Yeah, when you're singing in church, there's still this thing where you just have to be talented. It's not about having a smash record and not really being that great of a singer. It's pure talent. That's it. Like your vocal range, even as an instrumentalist. Like if you're playing in church and you say your background is church, you're on a different, like they place you on a different level, like in terms of like standard. As opposed to the secular world where you could just be like a YouTube sensation because you're funny and then you put out a song, it becomes a hit record. You're not really a singer, or you're a great performer, but your voice isn't that great, So that's the difference. When you're coming from church, you're expected to be on a certain level as a musician, as opposed to you just having marketing tricks if you were in a secular world that can sell you as an artist. All of that coming from the church is stripped down. They don't care about nothing else. And then it's also a message. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to be careful when you're coming from the church and when you're performing in church, because it's not just about entertaining. You're dealing with people's souls and people's lives. Like it's a totally different ballgame. Like, yeah.
So we did have a conversation after that performance. When are we releasing the audio?
I'm scared. That's the honest truth. Like I you know what? I've done that. I have that. Like those songs. I've recorded it maybe like 6-7 years ago, because my mom wanted me to do some gospel compilation for her. And I did it, and I gave it to a few of my family members have it. And they always tell me, when you're gonna put it out, when you're gonna put it out. But you know me, I'm a rebel, so I don't want to put it out, and then tomorrow you see my Instagram picture that's not very.
And then you have to apologize to your mom what you're wearing on stage.
Yeah, and they'll be like, Tiwa, because now already people are like, Tiwa has given her life to Christ. She's good, and I am, I am a Christian, but now that there's like expecting, like, I don't know. I am gonna put it out though. I think I have to.
You should put it out. Some of us do love it. Some of us want to be able to listen to it in the morning and just worship with it.
I am. And I'm actually I'm saying this for the first time. I'm actually mixing and mastering it. So, because the one I have is just like a rough. Yeah. So I'm gonna mix and master it, and I'm probably gonna put it out.
I'll be so much looking out for it. I'll be so much.
But then I'll go to shows now, Mr. Dyer. We'll go to shows now. After I say, my love, Joe, they'll be like, we have to start.
I'll use it to do sound check.
We have to start singing gospel music in the middle of. I'm on a protein diet. Hey, mama, keep quiet.
I'll use it for sound check anyway. Anyways, Tiwa, thank you so much for honoring my call. Thank you so much for coming on. Keep being you. Keep being. I was telling people, your Instagram life, that's the real Tiwa. That's the Tiwa everybody doesn't see outside. We see more of you. We know the real Tiwa. Keep being you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Love you.
All right, guys, stay on. I'm bringing in Sola, Osinowo, my next guest, and just enjoy. Thanks, Tiwa. Right. All right, so a lot of people have been trying to send me some. Are my favorite people still in the house? My usual people, are you still here? Right, I'm gonna bring in Sola Osinowo next. So let's get ready for that, and I'll just put some music in between.
Surely goodness and mercy follows me, follows me. Your grace, loving kindness surrounds me, surrounds me. I am blessed to be a blessing, walking in the favor of the Lord. I am blessed. I am blessed. I was there when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. I will enter his holy place, singing praises, singing.
Can't hear you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Ah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing this. This is it's been long we've talked about something like hangout and stuff. So this is good.
Well, thanks,
Well,
Corona.
and well done.
Thank you very much.
You're blaming Corona. Yeah, we have to blame someone.
It's Corona.
It's not the sound man. It's not the sound man we're blaming this time.
It's not. It's Corona's fault. It's Corona's fault. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Like, you know, I've made a decision. I have to be good, man. Like, you know.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the way like when I tell people that our questions don't flow, we just we just chat, we just talk, but it's all about related to sound and stuff. Saying what you just said, first thing first.
Yeah.
How is your mental health? You know, how are you doing? How are you looking after yourself? How you know?
Wow. Okay. Well, I had to actually change my routine.
Okay.
Because obviously the first week you go, okay, right, I'm gonna chill, you know, use that time to rest, because obviously most of us were either just coming back or we're on a job or something. And then after that, I you look around and you're deciding, is this how long is this going to continue? You don't know. So I literally had to up my, what I say, I had to look, like you said, how am I looking at? I have to look after myself. So I mean, a few things I'm doing personally is like I take walks, probably trying to walk about 2-3 miles a day, just out there, just listening to music. Different music, new music. So it's not just it's not just walking for the exercise. Appreciating the fact that I'm alive, because obviously it's a tough season. And I do know a lot of medical people, so it's quite close to home, if you know what I mean. So so that and I think the other thing is I really worked on, like, I think I've only had one takeaway meal in 4 weeks. Yeah, I was like, because there's something else to do, like cooking or
stuff.
Trying something else, and trying to be like because I actually watched a documentary on BBC on how much more of your takeaway meals actually makes you tired, and all of that. And so things like that, drinking more water, taking walks, and literally just being positive in the sense that we are going to get out of this.
Yep.
We may not know when, we may not know how, with everything, but listen, we're alive, so hey, I think that's one choice we have to make, not just look at it as when is the government going to do stuff. It's really a decision on persons, so that's the way I see it. So I think those are the main things I'm doing, really. And obviously having great chats with people like you.
It's so funny that when I talk about people's mental health, it's very important, because I also look at it from my own point of view, in the sense that if I tell you I've not stepped out of my house since the 17th of March, not even for a walk.
Okay.
So it's funny, but I'm an introvert naturally, so I can stay indoors as long. But because
there are many of us.
because of the kind of,
I know some people won't believe, but
because of the kind of work I do, it's people see you out there, but I'm an introvert. But a lot of people don't know. Those close to me, I did have symptoms of the COVID.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
My wife and I had to isolate for about. My wife was even worse. She has to stay in for about 15-16 days. But one of the reasons
She's
why,
better now, yeah?
yeah,
Everyone's
we're much
better.
better.
And, yeah, good.
This is
That's
part
good.
of keeping
That's
my
good.
mental health. Doing this, you know,
Wow.
I'm the kind of person that I like
Yeah.
impacting people. So that's one of the things
Yeah.
that led me into this, and that's why I'm always asking everybody, "How is your mental health? How are you looking?" Sorry, I just need to disable one person's comments here. Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah, that's.
Oh,
I
easy
was
there,
using
yeah.
that to just. I'm using that to keep saying there's something to
Yeah.
look forward to. You know, by the time let's imagine that by the time I prepare for Monday's event and stuff, I'm having something to do. I'm having something to look forward to and move on from. And so it's very important for everybody to just look after your mental health in this period. So
Definitely.
let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, where do we start? Okay, first, I'm actually an electrical engineer for some
Okay.
people who know.
You're the
That's,
second
will I
electrical
say,
engineer here on this platform. Yeah.
that's my first career, which I still do. Thankfully, I'm blessed to still be able to practice being a power engineer, and yes, also freelance sound engineer. I don't know. It's really hard. I'm used to asking people what they do, and so about me, right? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I think I've been active in the sound scene for probably about 10, well, let me say 12 years. You
Mhm.
know, including all the training, all the shadowing, and yeah, I think that's it. I
So
think
how did you get into this? How did you become an engineer? How did you get into it?
Okay, so interesting story. I actually used to play an instrument, which I'll keep the
Okay.
instrument secret for now. And then it was one thing where I know how my instrument sounds when I'm practicing at home. Why does it sound different
Mm.
when I go to an event, which for me was mainly church? And I mean, I did do in Nigeria a little bit of a high life, but that's somewhere, you know. So and I think for me being an engineer, I said, look, I need to know why. So I started hanging out with a lot of engineers, and I think being an engineer, even though electrical, it was also it was one path that led me that pretty much dragged me in really, because it was a case of I know how things sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was one of the musics I was brought up listening to growing up is jazz, George Benson, and I absolutely love jazz. And for me, it was a case of we know how these instruments sound. Why is it different? Why is it hard to replicate it? And I think that was where a lot of the drive came from to go into sound. Plus, I don't have to attend all the band rehearsals, so which is so it's a different route. But yeah, that's how I got into sound, and that's how I've sort of pursued it alongside my current career. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So what would
Yeah.
you say? It's a very tricky question.
Okay.
What would you say is your greatest achievement as a sound engineer? I know it's a tricky question. So if someone asks me that, I know it's a tricky question. But because you expect the next day to be bigger than yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's okay. I won't. Let me just say I will point out a couple of highlights that I've experienced, because I think biggest is it's like a lot of us being brought up in church. We've been privileged, and obviously, like currently now, being privileged to work and to serve with the Hillsong London team has been an absolute, like, will I say, dream, godsend. What all I can say about it, it's absolutely amazing. Um, Technically wise, that has probably the Hillsong Carols in SSE and Arena has probably been my most technical and challenging event, and that's when I had probably close to 50 mixes to do monitors for, individual mixes. That's full orchestra, full band, and cast. And yeah, that technically is probably like mind, like for a good week, my mind has to rest after that, because that for me is intense. But I think I've also been privileged to do a couple of jobs around the world, with different artists, with Muyiwa, and with well, Leslie Ray and Bunky's team, CFAN, where we've had opportunities of mixing for thousands and thousands of people. But I think over all of that is the fact that what I can do has impacted people and
Hmm.
changed people, and it's not me in front because the introvert is in me doesn't necessarily want to be in the front or in the face of places, and I think that I could say is sort of the achievement that I hold there when you know. And also, I think adding that is when I have been privileged to, will I say, mentor and bring up a couple of engineers, and a few of them have gotten tours around the world. And I'm going, wow, that for me is purpose. That's it, the vision living longer and greater than you. So yeah, no, that's been amazing.
Let's talk about the Hillsong Carol.
Right, okay.
Right, I've never attended.
Yeah, okay. You need to.
The
You
introvert
need
in me
to.
doesn't make me attend shows. So if you see me in a show, there's 99% I'm walking there. So I'm
Okay.
not that kind of person that would wake up and say I'm going out, and so I don't do it. But I have seen videos
Yeah.
of that Carol. Now, being a techie person, I all I'm watching is how did they do that? How did they do that? This is
Yeah.
madness. This is
Yeah.
money. This is this. This is this. How do
Yeah.
you guys handle that, Carol? How many months of production? How many?
Wow.
How many production managers? Because I already know in my head.
Yep.
I already know
Yep.
what's that.
Yep.
What's
Yep.
the what the madness is. Guys, if you've
Yeah.
never watched Hillsong Carol, go on YouTube. I believe it's on YouTube. Go on Google, whatever.
Yep. There.
This
Yep.
is one of the guys behind Hillsong Carol, so you would understand what I
In
mean.
London,
It's madness.
I need to say.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
you know, you understand this madness. I've done gigs
Yeah.
with the likes of Burna Boys and all that stuff, and we're having
Mm,
120 inputs and stuff, and they don't even do half of what
yeah.
Hillsong does. So how do you guys
Yeah.
get away with that? Because I was going to ask how do you
Wow.
get away with murder, but let me just ask how do you, what do you guys do?
um. Okay. I think like anything, preparation is key. Preparation is absolute key. Preparation, rehearsal on everything is key. And I think I cannot stress the. I mean, it probably is probably 6 to 9 months of preparation when you're thinking of getting every single detail right. And that's everybody working together, from creative to technical to the partners to the engineers. Everybody involved is is literally integrated into one big team with a backup plan also. So I mean, it's where do I start? So from being able to sit down and dream it and putting that on paper to then go, what do we need to make this happen? Every single detail, every single light fixture, every single sound equipment, every single mix. I mean, from like 5 months, 6 months in, we're thinking how many mixes, what desk would handle the mix, how big is the orchestra, how many the cast on stage, how many, what do they need? Are we swapping packs? Every single detail has been put in, and you have people behind the scenes working, people that you probably will never meet, and they are working tirelessly because it has to also work with all our partners, all our contractors, all the people we get equipment with, the venues. Every single thing has to work and come to life. So I think overall it is preparation that no one sees, and then near the end everyone starts seeing that little detail come out, and then there's rehearsal upon rehearsal upon rehearsal upon rehearsal. Yeah, so I think for me that's how we approach, that's how you handle such a large event, and pretty much almost every event of ours that we do. It's a culture that I love, in the sense that we would prepare. Now I'm not saying things don't change, and before people label people as perfect, yes, we aim for perfection, but things change. But if you're prepared for it, then why not? And in some stages you come up with plan E, So we would go through A, B, C, D, E, F. I mean, we've got to G or H sometimes. So yes, we're gonna prepare in every way. Yeah. Anyway,
My
I've
next
lost your
question,
audio. Oh,
somebody's
yeah,
asked you already. If you're
yeah,
having 50 mixes of monitor mix,
yeah.
how many inputs do you have?
um, I think we were probably close to 150 or 160. So for those of you who know, before Digital released their new 338, the ST7, literally maxing out an ST7 where I literally have no spare input or output channels. That is how big it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, guys, if you're watching this and you want to become the sound engineer of Hillsong tomorrow, remember what Nat said on Wednesday. Learn to push the boxes first. Push the
Oh
boxes
dear.
first. Be the roadie.
100%.
Roll the cables and
Yeah.
don't jump. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't say
Yep.
because you've seen one guy who's doing 160 inputs and the next thing you want to go and do 160 inputs. It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't work like that.
It doesn't
It
work like
doesn't
that.
work like.
So
Yeah.
my next question would be you're very detailed when you work. I've seen you do your stuff. You're very detailed. Do you have that same approach to every job? I think it's a stupid question. I know the answer already
No,
because I've
no, no,
seen
good
you work
question.
in a
Good
50
question.
man event and
Yeah.
obviously we just discussed. Do you have do you have the same approach to when you do the big gigs and when you do the small gigs?
Yes, yes, yes. I think one culture that I would encourage people to have is plan. If you plan every single thing to every detail, you would get good results. So it doesn't matter whether we like. I mean, I've done events with Muyiwa where it's literally like a 25. So I mean, I remember one I did with Muyiwa. I had to run because we came with tracks. I literally had to run some of the effects on my laptop because I didn't even know because sometimes we go to places where we just believe this is where God wants us to go and literally so all that preparation is necessary obviously within reason. So for example, I'm not planning to in a small church that is 25 meters square. I'm not going to plan to bring, four hands of,
Mm-hmm.
J series in. It's like, what are you thinking? So you plan and it helps you. It helps you manage job. But the other thing it helps you is, and I think for me is one of my heart is the fact that this is bigger than us.
Mm.
This is bigger than us. And so therefore, if I was to hand you a job or if I was to ask you to help me do an event, if I give you enough information, then the thing is you can carry it on. So if I had a job in Australia and at the same time I had a job in America and I go, hey D, can you do this? I can just give you a share folder with you or send you a link and you have every single detail of the job
Of the
and
job.
you can carry it on. And we need to be ready for that because like not being funny, when COVID is over, people are gonna want to go out.
Mm-hmm.
People are gonna want to,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to be ready for that. So I would encourage everyone, small event, big event. Let's plan. Let's plan everything. Think about everything. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
the for me the next thing will now be obviously we are looking at things like desks, inputs, and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Um, I think I know the answer. So I'll let you speak
I
for
think I know the
yourself.
question too. Go on. Anyway,
What would be
go on.
your favorite desks and why?
Oh my. Okay, right. It's funny when someone actually even commented on my on my DM once and said, "Are you sponsored by this particular company?" And I was like, "No, not yet." That's the word, not
Okay,
yet.
not yet.
So currently, Digico is, will I say, pretty much my go-to console. I think there's so much in it. It's probably my favorite. It is my favorite at the moment.
Okay.
There's so much in it, in the way it works, in the optical network, and all the details of that, and the 32-bit preamps, sick. However, I would mention this because the SSL, the S6L,
S6L.
those two are also in my radar. That's all I'm going to say for now. We'll see what happens with that.
For,
But I would say, yeah.
for me, the XXL is something that's interesting. My first use of the XXL was a global citizen in South Africa.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
one that had the Beyonce gig on and stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and for my first ever time on it, and it was just
Yeah.
smooth. It was very.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I use Waves as
Yeah.
plugins. Now, the
Yeah.
only problem with that
Oh.
is the
Oh.
S6L doesn't work with the impact servers. You have to have an extreme
Right.
for it to
Yep.
work. So
Yep.
maybe that's the only
Yep.
reason. At the moment, I'm like, okay, nah. But the S6L is it's going to give people a run for their money. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
giving people a run for their money. So I already asked you. You should take up. You've taken us through Hillsong, and now that you said it, I think I'm problem is most Decembers. It's Tiwa
Yeah.
Savage fault. I'm always in Nigeria during December, so I have an excuse.
Don't.
I have an
That's
excuse
what I'm gonna
already.
do. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right. So, when I ask sound engineers this question, I even
Yeah.
sometimes someone said, "What about the D Live?"
Okay.
So
Um.
that was not my question, but I just saw
Yeah.
that the question there, so I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important for our audience to be getting
Well,
involved.
okay. Let me put it like this. If the real answer to the question is whichever one I'm given.
Mm.
Like I would work on any console, and I would try and make it work to the best. And I've been thrown like I remember literally doing an event like full band everything, and I got thrown like a GL is it 4800 Island Heat, and I'm going, you guys didn't tell me, and we're sharing desk. So, bro, I went back to write, drawing my
Yeah,
EQs
EQs are
and
making sure nobody.
positions, and I'm going, wow, and bro, this is like 2 years ago, so it's not like it's 10 years ago. It's like recent, and and we're sharing this. There were like loads of artists, so I had to tell the artists it was me. Was like me, give me time because I need to do this. So I would do anything. I would do the D Live. The D Live. I like the D Live also. I mean, the thing is a lot of them. Everybody is getting to that stage now where we're looking at phase coherence. We're looking at 32-bit floating points. Everyone is getting there. I haven't spent as much time as I want to, will I say, on a D Live. So again, maybe why I am biased with Digico is yes, Hillsong London is currently our main desk is Digico, and we're on it. So I mean, most of my experience is from Hillsong London and Wigwam for Digico. So, but if somebody is happy to give me one, you never know. I'm happy to take it on the tour.
So
So,
I have a funny approach when it comes to desks. Is
yeah.
throw me on
Okay.
any desk, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously everybody has that preference. Now, I've come to find that the tone on the Yamahas are very good for the Afrobeat artists, for the Afrobeat genre. So,
That's another thing.
but
Yeah.
the funniest part of it is the best mixes I personally feel I've had them on Digicals.
I'm
Yep.
not gonna say anything there. I'm not gonna
I've,
say
I've
anything
had
else.
them on Digicals, but
I'm not gonna say
I
anything.
I I don't understand I don't understand why the digital guys, if they're watching, because I did tag them on this, if they're watching this,
Yeah.
why do you have to make life so difficult? Why do you have to have so much buttons? Why do you have to have so the
No,
economics
no,
of
no,
it
no, no.
is a bit.
But S6L has more
Oh
buttons.
no, the SSL it's kind of ugly when you see
SSL has more buttons.
yeah,
SSL
yeah.
definitely has more buttons.
But
So yeah.
the only thing is that once you've used the profile, you can easily glide into the
Yes.
SXL
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
an
Yes. Yes.
improvement on it. It's just an
Yeah.
improvement on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, my advice to anyone who's
All right.
watching,
Yeah.
have your favorite desk, but at the same time,
Yeah.
know your way around any other desk around there. You
True.
don't know where you'll
True.
be thrown. You don't know what event you actually do. That might be the difference
Mm.
between you getting the next job and
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Mm.
I also know that most of your clients are Christian clients, and I've seen you work with one
Yeah.
or two secular artists. Do you have the same approach to both?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I have a theory, and I'm going to say it out here because I've said it to a couple of the guys close to me. Even if you look at a lot of the secular artists, they pick their engineers from church. So my approach doesn't change, whether it's the detail, whether it's the politeness, whether it's how I work with them, whether it's the attention to detail, the attention to what the artist needs. It's the same. It's the same. Obviously, the difference is that sometimes with I guess a lot of times with church, you probably are relying, because it's not necessarily one person. Sometimes with
Mm-hmm.
church, it's like a group or something. So a lot of times it's not just, hey, this is what I'm doing or this is what I'm doing. A lot of times it's much more of a decision by it's not necessarily just the MD. Whereas with an artist, it's one person, that's the boss, or as we say, that's the money channel. So same approach, like same details, same pushing for sound check, same trying to understand the music, understand how it works, understanding the vibe of the room, same.
So
Yeah.
someone
So,
sound Premier said he's never laid hands on a digital, but he's had tons of virtual mixes on the software. Now that's kind of interesting, guys. So if you're someone who's really interested in your craft, if you're really interested in your craft, download every virtual software, every virtual editor you can get. That's the word here. Download every virtual editor you can get. Just get it and watch a lot of YouTube videos. Just do what you have to do to get that gig.
You can even go to a point where you have a file for every single desk, and if somebody throws it to you, you can jump on the next flight and you're ready.
And you're ready to go.
Have a think about that.
Yeah,
have
you're
a think
ready to
about
go.
that. It might be one or two tips.
So personally, the only reason why I have Windows on my Mac is because of softwares. Because things like the Avid, they're only on Windows. Avid is only on Windows.
Well, Digico is only on Windows,
is only on
except
Windows.
The S21 and 31. They're on Mac. So,
so it's very important for you to have those offline editors, and you might have not used a desk for about 6 months. You'll be surprised how long it could take for you to use one desk and not use it again for the next 3, 4, 5 months. So if you haven't used a desk for a while, all you just need to do is get on a YouTube video, 30 minutes, get on the offline editor, and just mash it up, do some things there, save it, delete that, start all over again, start from labeling. It's just like I would always try and repeat things that people have said, and is labeling, doing stuff from scratch is like pushing boxes. It's like pushing boxes. So
no, the pushing boxes is 100%. I mean, I must say this: people don't know. Like I say, maybe I've been in the industry for 10 years. I probably spent over half of it just sitting down watching engineers, sitting down behind excellent engineers, just sitting down learning and learning and learning. And don't forget, I'm running. I still had a career that I've been running at the same time. So it's been sitting down. You sit down, you learn. You sit down, you watch. You sit down, you watch. So people who think tomorrow I'm going to be mixing 120 channel mixes, it could take time. Like, I'm not saying it will, but it could. So be patient. Be patient. Push the boxes. Know every single thing in your chain of equipment. You'll be surprised how different that makes you. Because someone like me, I'm not like out for, hey, everyone see me, hey, I'm an engineer or I mix. I'm happy to be in the background, but that is the core. That is your strength. The strength is what happens when things are not necessarily in the right way. Who knows where everything is and who can fix it?
Okay, so my next question is, what is the weirdest show you've ever done?
Ooh. Question is, which one? See, I had one. This was very interesting, and this was actually a worship event. But it was, and I sorry, obviously I can't mention some of the details.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had one. It was a worship event. It was in a different country, different culture, and literally my monitor tech was smoking into my face the entire event, and I'm going, and then he comes at the end and he goes, now this is the difference. He comes at the end and goes, I've never seen a show like this. I actually like what you guys are doing. And I'm going, okay. I'm trying to catch my breath.
Thank God you didn't shout at
understand? That's what I'm saying. You don't know. So I've had like shows like that, to shows where the rider or what we asked for was different. And yes, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. I had one. Every single thing was different.
I should do a show one day where I invite every sound engineer, and all we're going to talk about is, you have 60 seconds. Tell me about the worst show you've done, and I'll cut the other person and bring the next person in 60 seconds. Tell me the worst thing that you've done.
There are loads, but I think it's whether you recover from it. I think that's what it is. I think that for me is, you can talk about, like, is what you make with it. For example, the worship show, for me, if it was that guy that suddenly thought, you know what, I need a heart change just because I actually see people worshiping God, then it doesn't matter if I have to, be coughing for the next day, just because I need to recover from someone who just thinks it's, in some countries where it's all right to still smoke indoors, it doesn't matter. But, you need to treat the people that you meet all around well. So, but yeah, I've had, and I've had spectacular random things happen in events. But yeah, I'll save them for offline.
Okay, so I'm doing a poll. I'm doing a poll on before we went live. I did a poll. Yeah. I'm doing a poll about churches that pay their musicians and churches that pay their sound engineers.
Oh, okay.
And almost 50% said their churches pay. I think it was 47 to 53. The churches paid their musicians, and they didn't pay their musicians was 53%. So almost half, statistics level, almost half, 50-50. Yeah. But when you got to the sound engineers, only a quarter of the churches paid their sound engineers.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, I know we have just about 2 or 3 minutes left, is, do you personally think that churches valued sound engineers as much as they should?
Wow. I guess first I would say it depends on the church or the setting. Not everyone. But I think also there is a bit of a confusion in who is behind and who is in front sometimes. And I think the challenge for some people, and my experience is, the challenge is people see the musicians, so sometimes, you go, oh, we need to. And they don't see the sound engineer, so that sometimes we forget them. I think you need to assess your core, what's critical in your network. If you're building something of excellence, you need to start going, where do I find the right people, and how do I reimburse them? If I'm going to build a bridge, I'm not going to go, well, it doesn't matter. Maybe the architect won't take money, or the civil engineer will take money, or the actual cement people, or the more it's basically everybody involved. So I don't know if I would say, I think everybody needs to have their own case on whether they should or they shouldn't, or whether they can afford to or they can't. I think the openness about it is real, that some do, some don't, some think they should, some think they don't. I think you really need to just assess, because at the end of the day, you need to know what's critical. And also you need to know when you get to a size. I mean, at the end of the day, when do you get a secretary, for example, or your personal assistant, when there is so much work for you to do, so we need to be able to value that and go, right, are we at a stage as a church, as a ministry, as an, that, okay, what, can we live on Sunday if this guy doesn't come in, if that guy doesn't come in? What technical qualifications do we have, or do we need?
Okay.
So I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, so
we don't have time.
I've got 45 seconds left.
Okay,
cool. In 30 seconds, guys, I'll be back at 8 with girls, so make sure you come back. In 30 seconds, advice for young sound engineers.
Learn your craft. Learn your craft. Do what you have to do. Start from the bottom. And all the best.
All right. Thanks so much, Sola.